Good morning from beautiful Surfside Beach. We are just coming up on 9 minutes before the start of the dash. This is the dash portion of the Great Texas 300. And behind me you can see the fleet's already lined up. They're ready to go. This is not our Great Texas 300 fleet. These are the dash participants that come out and they bring, I'm telling you, I have seen every kind of boat you can imagine this morning. Hobie 16, NACRA 5.0, Prindle 19, NACRA 20s, and none of these are one-design boats. There's clearly Mariner Sails here in Texas is back in the catamaran game. They've got their sails on several of the boats out here, and they look pretty cool. But it is a run-what-you-brung day, and clearly this is going to be quite an interesting start. Today we've got spotty showers. The overcast is built in. We're getting a little bit of sun every once in a while, but it's not your Chamber of Commerce beach day. It's also a light onshore. There's not much surf, but with a light onshore, it's going to be really interesting watching this fleet get off of the beach now in just about 8 minutes. I really am surprised at some of the configurations that have been put together. I got to walk through the fleet this morning and got to talk to some of these folks that have put these boats together, and it's clearly the multi-hull spirit is alive and well here in South Texas. It's like Cuba and cars. You see some really classic cars driving around Cuba because they keep them running, and mechanics are like artists down there, and you'd be amazed at the sort of cars that you see driving down the road. Well, that's kind of the feeling here. These boats have been resurrected, resuscitated, reconditioned. I mean, some of these, I saw a Prindle 19 with a wild rig on it and like brand new looking castings. It's amazing, some of the configurations that we've got on the beach this morning. Folks are already starting to move down to the start line. We've got about 7 minutes to go. Got a Supercat 19 here with it's the second time they've splashed the boat since it's been completely reconditioned. All new sails. It's the second time that the main's even been run up the mast. The favorite today, of course, the ARC 22. It's the big boy in the crowd right now. But I'll tell you, we got several NACRA 20s, a couple of F-18s. You can see Jack Flash, Colin Casey's boat right here, 4247. That don't adjust your set. That is actually a custom painted Infusion with a C2 rig on it. He swapped out the mast base on that wing mast, and he's got something that he feels works really, really well. Of course, under the F-18 rules, you do what you want. That might be the new state motto. I do what I want. We've also got an interesting collection of, there's a Prindle down there with a square top on it and a Hobie Bob at the top of the mast. I got excited when I walked by an old NACRA 5.0 with a what looked like a bowsprit on it, and I thought, wow, that's the proto NACRA 500 rig, and I got to looking at that bowsprit, and it's a tiller extension. He's got a fully extended tiller extension out the front, and I said, what kind of kite do you run on that? A tiller extension can't take much. And he goes, oh no, that's just for the GoPro. So don't get excited when you see that 5.0 with a bowsprit. That's not for a kite. That's just for the camera. And there we've got 5 minutes to a start for the dash. People taking their final pictures. We got light sprinkles. We saw a couple of water spouts early this morning when we were out for breakfast. It's most of it's moving inland. There's just if you can see, there's just not a lot of breeze. There's a couple people setting their kites to make sure everything's run clean, and they're certainly not having any trouble kites up and down this morning. So the breeze is not pushing hard on these guys, which makes it nice for the beach setup, but not so great to get through this. The surf's not big, but as we've seen the last couple of days, even small surf with a light onshore can be a bad combination. And not to put too fine a point on it, but we've got some folks that maybe don't have as much experience launching through the surf, so it could be interesting. We're inside 4 minutes now for the start. With me on the camera, as always, George Trevino, doing updates for us. Jeremy Leonard and Carl Broger are back in the Chum's Rib, somewhere just off of the beach here, and they'll be catching the Great Texas 300 start that we'll have on our normally scheduled time of 10 a.m. Central. Getting close on time. George, you want to pan down to our start line here? You can see the Great Texas placards, the yellow placards indicating where our 10 Great Texas starters are lined up. There goes the 22 down to the line now. Head and shoulders above. Got a boat flipped over here on the beach. Doing some last-minute checking. Inside 3 minutes now. Miss Tiff here better get going. The way that they establish the starting positions is, believe it or not, in the order that you sign up for the event. So the people that you see here closest to the north end of the beach, closest to our camera, these are the guys that just simply signed up first. So come early. Getting close on time now, coming down to 2 minutes. We've got one kind of light rain shower that's now moved off inland, and it looks pretty nice as far out as I can see. Got maybe a couple of thermals starting to build up. Well offshore, I can still clearly see the offshore rigs. Got about a minute and a half now. Almost looks like some of these folks are going to go with a second tier start. Not a lot of sense of urgency right now. I'd say they're definitely got a two-tiered start here. We're going to have one line fire off in the 10 positions they have established, and then another line will go off right behind them. And we're down to a minute. And definitely the second row starters have got their boats on wheels and ready to go. First row starters are in the water. 40 seconds now. Starting to see some of the Great Texas competitors to show up now. And we have 20 seconds to a start of the dash. Second row starters are beginning to move down. First row starters are poised. 10 seconds to a start now for the dash to Galveston. We've got a NACRA 20 with custom sails, an Infusion with C2 sails, an original NACRA 20. They're off. There's another EO snuffer on the line. The ARC 22 struggling to get through the surf. He's only got one pusher. NACRA 20 immediately in trouble getting crossed up here. Watch yourself, Trey Garrison. Skipper's jumping back off the boat. Jack Flash is crossed up in the surf. And as we expected, light onshore breeze and a little bit of lump. Pushing is going to be critical. Pushing is going to be critical today, both for this fleet, the next start, and the Great Texas 300 sailors. Pushers do not give up. Is that Lee? Like Lee Wickland doesn't have enough to do. He's helping his buddy Colin Casey get out today. Push, Lee! And off on a port tack. That's how onshore we are today. Big wave here for Colin. Another little bump behind that. Second row. All credit to Trey Garrison. He never moved. Second row starters are moving on down. And we've got our first NACRA 20 that's tacked just outside the surf break. And they're pointed in the right direction. Jack Flash appears to be crossing behind him. Not much Cunningham on. He's got some nice speed wrinkles in the sail. Powered up. Boat's starting to move nicely now. That NACRA 20 appears to have stalled out. His jib's luffing. Looks like Colin can get across him now. Nope, he's going to duck. He's going to duck. Come in close behind. And if I were him, I'd be looking for the tack sometime soon. Looks like the green-sailed NACRA 20 there is continuing on out on top of the ARC 22. That Super Cat didn't seem to have too much trouble getting through the surf. We're coming up on our second tier start. This will be the rest of the Dash fleet. I see a couple of classic Hobie 16s down the line. A 5.7. Pair of 5.0s. Be an interesting duel between those two today. And I'll tell you, that first guy who tacked out, I want to check out over here. This guy's pretty much all alone, moving on down the beach. Jack Flash is tacked now. So we've got two boats headed toward the next checkpoint, the finish of the Dash. And actually, the breeze is starting to build in. We've got some nice breeze building in right now. Just in the last 5 minutes, it's come out quite nicely. Nice increase in pressure. The second tier is lining up. Oh, that NACRA 20's tacking back. Either he's thinking he needs to consolidate or he needs some height off of the beach. He might be feeling a near-shore current there. That is not a great tacking angle. That is a VMG of 0 in my opinion. But clearly when you've got a coastline to get around, sometimes you got to take that hit earlier than later. Coming up on the second tier start here. Looks like about 30 seconds for them. Also setting up right behind these guys. In the pole position. Hard fought, hard won. For our GT start here in just under an hour. John Casey and Dalton Tebow. And that NACRA 20 still got Colin Casey crossed. Poor angle notwithstanding, they're still ahead of the rest of the fleet. And there goes our second tier off of the beach. Yeah, when we've lost a crew member off of the Super Cat 19, he's back aboard now. Everybody headed off on port tack. They went to school on that last fleet. They've got a little bit more pressure to get off the beach in. Oh, and he's rounded up. He's rounded up. That Super Cat's going to have an issue. Pusher, you better get back on him. Don't give up yet, boys. Pushing is going to be absolutely critical today. You've got a tall pusher who's got no quit in him, you're going to be a happy starter. Still got a pusher on the NACRA 5.7. That's working out well for them. They're keeping a nose down in the surf. And now the Supercat 19's pusher is headed back out to help them get straightened back out in the surf. 33's in trouble. Another wave getting ready to push him around the wrong way, and another big wave stacked up behind it. We've got another NACRA down the beach, stuck sideways. They're backing up with no pusher. Now they got somebody coming out to help them. And a Hobie 18 down the beach, just now electing to leave. Looks like skipper and crew are pulling on the bow rather than pushing from the back. All right, now that Supercat's pointing in the right direction. And our first tier is well on their way to Galveston. They're all on a starboard tack, moving down the beach well. That ARC 22, fifth boat back. Still got a couple of boats stuck in the surf here. They're not making much headway. I don't know if they've got a rudder stuck down. Looks like both rudders are up. Now they're moving. Well onto a port tack now, but he's starting to round up. Keep that nose down. I don't see a crew on that boat. It looks like he might be trying to single hand. And the second tier is all off of the beach now. Only two boats still stuck in the wash. They're still pointed a little high. That 18's doing a little bit better now. And unless he can get down into that jib, that NACRA's facing some disappointment. As we said, first tier is away well. They're all on a starboard tack, headed toward Galveston. The second tier, oh, and the NACRA's getting tacked. Looks like he's got a flat spot to work with, but I don't know if he can get pointed back down in the right direction. 18's already rolled him low and is moving on. Now, sheet and go. There you go. Sheet that main on. Don't let it round up, and you'll be out of here. That's better. Nope, he's coming up. He's coming up again. Some of these sailors have got a long day in store. All right, on the second tier, we've got our first tacker on the outside. It looks like one of the 5.0s. The other 5.0 is tacked over inside of him. And they're ready for the 40-mile dash. The 40-mile dash to Galveston. Now that we've got everybody off the beach, we're going to take a short break so I can get around and see what's going on in our Great Texas 300 fleet. We'll be back on air with you at our regularly scheduled time of 9:30 Central. Give us about 20 minutes. I'll go get the scoop from these guys, and we'll bring it right back to you live. Thanks for joining us for the start of the dash. We'll be right back with the final leg of the Great Texas 300, the 10th running, brought to you by Zyke, Trap Out, Yost Automotive, and Juke Automotive. Thanks very much for joining us. We'll be right back.